At the halfway mark, 264 did seem like a competitive total that Sri Lanka had set, but the way that the Indian team went about it, it seemed completely one-sided. India reaching that total with 39 balls to spare and 7 wickets in hand. It's that man once again, Rohit Sharma, with his 5th 100 in this World Cup, the first man to do so in the history of World Cups. KL Rahul also finding some form and timely form, I might add, 111 for him. Nothing much to write home about as far as the Sri Lankan bowlers are concerned. Look at those figures for Lasith Malinga, 1 for 82, not figures that you really associate with this Sri Lankan veteran. Before that, it was another veteran from Sri Lanka, in Angelo Matthews, that got 113 is what really propelled them to 264 for 7. You're watching ESPNcricinfo Matchday UK 2019. I'm Nikhil Naz in the company of Ajit, Agarkar and Dan Vettori, but I'd love to start my discussion with Tillkaratne Dilshan. Dilshan, firstly, apologies for not really looking at your analysis carefully. You said Sri Lanka were 20-30 short. In the end, it seems like they were 60-70. I knew that you know, Indian batting lineup, you were hoping that they'd chase this total down, but you didn't expect Sri Lankan bowlers to perform as badly as they did?
Definitely. That's why I mentioned Indian batting throughout this World Cup. They are very strong batting lineup, especially Rohit batting really well throughout the series. And that's why I mentioned we are short 20-30 runs, but we saw how easy they batted. Especially Lasith Malinga not fire in the first few overs, especially new ball. All the bowlers went flat, and all the fielding unit went flat. Everyone as a team defend by Lasith Malinga. We can't defend on the bowler. Lasith Malinga not bowling well. We are very difficult to defend any game. I think Lasith bowled well throughout the series. It might be not today, but he's happy. He's giving everything this World Cup. I think is definitely goes credit to the Lasith Malinga throughout the series.
All right, Dilshan, stay on with us. I'll come back to you. Plenty more to discuss with you. But at the moment, there are only 2 entities that need to be congratulated on this day. One is the Indian cricket team. The other joins us live now from Leeds, and that is Alexis Nunes, because she's ensured that Murali Kartik is safe and sound at the end of the match. Over to you, Alexis.
Thanks so much, guys. Well, let me just put out a warning and a disclaimer. It is very, very hard to hear you right now. The drums are going, the whistles are going. Honestly, it doesn't even feel like we're in Leeds. It feels like we are definitely somewhere in India right now, with the fans absolutely celebrating. You would never know that this was a match with really nothing on the line, some would say, knowing that India had already qualified for the semi-finals. But another convincing, very convincing win for India. We were talking about how Sri Lanka should be happy with that total. Well, India clearly had other plans to change our minds in that one. The runs that we saw, Rohit Sharma, again, as we were talking about Bumrah, we're running out of amazing things to say for him, just knowing what he's been through and how important it is for him to be in this destructive form at this stage.
Look, it doesn't seem like that, isn't it? He just seems to be doing it with so much ease. The way he treated Lasith Malinga, you would say, wow, man, this is Lasith Malinga. You don't treat him like that.
Nice way to say goodbye, right?
Yeah, exactly. And then he just looked so comfortable out there. It didn't look like it was a slightly used track, or India was batting second, or it could be a tricky chase. He just came out, and the way they were going up, was it the briskest start? I think in the tournament, I think that would be the fastest start India has had. You have to give credit to the way KL Rahul started off as well, although he did, what should I say, taper down for a bit in the middle. But Rohit Sharma, seriously, we're just running out of superlatives. Just the way he treated that off-spinner, Dhananjay De Silva, he just came in and smashed him for 2 sixes in the very first over. Obviously, the confidence is oozing, 500s. And even the way he celebrated his 100, it just tells you that he is in a comfortable space and just outstanding. And funnily, as we were standing here, there are lots of guys coming and saying, come on, South Africa now.
Yes.
Because they want South Africa to beat Australia.
And it could be that indeed, but we'll definitely talk about that a bit more. So let's talk about the other Centurion today, and that is KL Rahul. And again, there's been a lot of mixed emotions for him, especially like in the media and whatnot. I constantly see the talks on social media if he's done enough or convincing enough to actually be that set opener with Rohit. Has he done enough for you today with the bat? And does that mean, or how important is it for him to get performance like this right ahead of the semi-finals?
Look, there was no question or there were no doubts about his quality. It's just that as a KL Rahul fan or as a fan of Indian cricket, you just want him to not just stop at 40s, 50s and 60s. You just want him to kick-start and make it a big 100. And again, he's got enough examples around him. There are people like Rohit Sharma batting next to him. Virat Kohli, although he's not got 100, just his conversion rate is outstanding. That's what you want from a quality player like KL Rahul. The pedigree was never in doubt, the class was never in doubt, just the way some of the shots which he hit after 100. You know that once you set or you don't have those mental blocks, and you can unleash those kind of shots. And again, as you said, it was important for him to believe that he can get a big score, get a triple figure. Because I remember last interview, I think it was Bishop or someone who asked him, what is it that will get you to a triple 100? And again, very subdued celebration after he got to his 100, as if a big a sigh of relief, so to say, to get to that 100. Just the way they batted, it was just beautiful, and good that India actually dominated. You cannot say that Sri Lanka were bad. It's just that those two batsmen made it look ridiculously easy, especially Rohit Sharma.
Well, like you said, I mean, it wouldn't really be talking about India if we didn't bring up a certain name, and I'm talking about Rishabh Pant, of course, for better or for worse. Just what did you think of today? Granted, the openers had pretty much done all of the damage already by then.
Look, for me, the most important thing is you just need to have continuity in whatever you do. Whoever it is, you need to give that person confidence. Rishabh Pant got 2 good innings, possibly got out at the wrong time, got out the wrong way. Those things can be questioned against him because that's the way he bats. But I don't think you have to pay too much attention to today. You just want him again to feel comfortable about the spot, because there's so much talk about number 4. It's just that anyone who's going to come and bat there is going to feel the pressure. So the best thing is to allow him to settle down, allow him to make sure that he doesn't have to walk or watch over his shoulder, and that's exactly what you want. So no fuss about the fact that he got out today.
And finally, let's just look on the other side now, because believe it or not, things are actually getting louder here. There's another set of drums that have just started, and you guys know that I don't turn down a good dance, and I'm going to drag Kartik with me. But first of all, we did have to say goodbye, at least at the World Cups, to a legend for Sri Lanka in Lasith Malinga. Just touch on the legacy that he's really leaving behind.
Unbelievable. Just the way he's carried on, just the way he's fought back injuries, the fact that when people ruled him out, when they wrote him off, just to come back and perform. Like last year, he was not even playing IPL. He was a bowling coach or a mentor with Mumbai Indians, to come and perform the way he did this year, bowl that final over which clinched the title, and just in general, coming back from debilitating knee injury. I think Lasith Malinga has had a great, wonderful career. Unfortunately for him, today was not the way he would have wanted to go, but that's sport sometimes, and you just take the good with the bad.
Good with the bad. I'll tell you something that's really good, though, our dancing. So we're going to throw it back to you guys. Thanks for coming to us, and we'll catch you in the semi-finals.
All right, thanks so much, Alexis. Go head to that Indian party very close by. We could see all of them dancing behind you. But be careful. Look after Murali, Kartik. We still need him. 2 more games to go in this World Cup. We need all his updates there from England. Okay, we're still continuing our discussion. Ajit, Agarkar.
Just before I answer, yes, I think we need to be kind to Dan here. Kartik keeps saying that they want South Africa to win now. So India plays New Zealand.
Would you love to see New Zealand upset
You might not have him
everyone.
in the semi-finals.
Kartik's been nailing New Zealand all day. I don't know what we've done wrong.
Yeah, wouldn't you love to see New Zealand prove all the prediction, or whoever comes in the semi-final play their final?
Well, I think I said yesterday that everyone's slave to the moment. I mean, New Zealand's played, lost 3 games, and so all of a sudden they're the worst team in the comp. Misbah wanted them out of the top 4. He wanted Pakistan to replace them. So look, I think New Zealand are very close to a good performance. So I don't think India won't be thinking that way, Australia won't be thinking that way, and England won't be thinking that way. There'll just be 4 teams who think they can perform, turn up and win.
Okay, we still don't know who New Zealand are going to play in the semi-final. I'm just trying to think from the Indian point of view. What do? They have enough time to party in Leeds too. For 3 hours, they don't know whether to head to Manchester or to Birmingham.
Yeah, there's still a bit of time till that game's played. I don't think India would worry at all whether it's New Zealand or England that they have to play. If they play their best, we've seen in general in this tournament, India's got the best balance. I know they've tinkered with the attack over the last couple of games a little bit, played to the conditions a bit. But if you look overall, I think you'd have to say India is the most balanced team, or with the most variety certainly in their bowling. if all of them are performing well. So
Okay.
I don't think they'll fare whether it's New Zealand or England.
All right, just to show you the points table right now, India are on top with 15 points. Of course, all of that can change if Australia were to chase down that big total that South Africa have set for them. At the moment, does seem like that it could be an upset there, with South Africa doing rather well with the bat and also doing very well now with the ball. Just one word on what Ajit says. I mean, on the basis of what you've seen, irrespective of who finishes on top, would you agree that India seems like the most well-rounded team in the tournament?
I think with England, and I think if you look at the predictions at the start of the tournament, those were what everyone was saying, that India looked so well balanced because they could fit 2 spinners in their team, and England looked so well balanced because they had so many bowling options. They have played 2 spinners at the start, but now they're going back in their fast bowlers. So I think those 2 teams look balanced because they bat relatively deep, but more the better thing for both of them is they have strike bowlers, and I think strike bowlers can win your tournaments, can win your semi-finals and finals.
Okay, let's take a look at the start of the day for India. Rohit Sharma, as we mentioned right at the start of the program as well, has become the first ever batsman to get 500s in a World Cup. There you see it. Kumar Sangakkara with 4 last time around, and then you had Mark Waugh, Saurav Ganguly, Matty Hayden all with 300s. I mean, just look at those figures. There's one thing that was different compared to all the other hundreds Ajit he got. You know what? In this World Cup, no drop catches.
Yeah, it's not his fault. I think he's cashing in that with the little bit of luck he's having, but I don't think there's any luck about the runs that he's scoring. It looks so easy. There's minimum fuss about the way he's going about it, and he's at the moment hungry to get those hundreds. And it's not like he's batting for his 100.
Yeah.
He's still batting at a fair clip, still taking on bowlers, and India would hope he has 2 more left in the tank. That'll be ideal, because just setting up games for India, or even in a chase which looked tricky midway. Look, that wasn't the best Sri Lankan attack that we've seen.
Yeah.
I mean, that was pretty ordinary attack, if you have to be very honest, especially with, like Dilshan said, Malinga not having a great day. Made it a little bit easy, but it can't be easy getting hundreds. So 500s in a World Cup, it's just unthinkable, to be honest.
I think that the other thing is that he actually intimidates bowlers, and because he does it so easy and he's so elegant, that I think people just think it's very fluent. But I know, speaking to bowlers who've bowled him a lot, is that the ease that he picks up length, and so bowlers feel like they've got to be perfect, otherwise Rohit's going to pick them up and put them over square leg for 6, or if you over pitch, then he can just sky you through the covers. And so when you're a bowler and you see that happen, you're on edge, and I think that's what he brings out the best in himself and the worst out of bowlers. So you've got to be inch perfect, otherwise Rohit Sharma tends to dominate.
We just showed you a graphic there, most runs in this World Cup with 649 runs. Rohit Sharma is on top. But if we were to take a look at across World Cup, where does that really stand? He's already there in the top 5 with 647 runs, not too far behind Matthew Hayden, not even too far behind Sachin Tendulkar, with another match that India is set to play a minimum of a semi-final.
And just 8 innings, Nikhil.
That's right, yeah, just 8 out of 11 compared to that. And with India yet to play one more game, as I said, the semi-final, there's a pretty good chance that he goes past Sachin Tendulkar. The one thing that we're looking at, and Dan, I'll come to you because Ajit mentioned that it's not that he's looking for 100. Let's just take a look at how he performed in this particular innings. Before this, you had Shikhar Dhawan, who would be the aggressor, and he'd take his time. As soon as he's seen KL Rahul come in, who needs a bit of time, he's become the aggressor and has taken that role rather easily.
I think everything comes relatively easy to him. He just plays so well, and I think he still gives himself the opportunity to get in and assess conditions, assess how the bowlers are going. But you can see once he flicks that switch, and when he wants to be aggressive, when he picks up the length well, starts in those 6s over mid-wicket and deep square. I think when he gets into that mode, that's when he's almost unstoppable, and that's why he has so many big scores, and that's why I think he's one of the leading 6 hitters in world cricket, because he can take on any sort of bowlers, and I think once he feels good about himself and understands conditions, he just goes.
Okay, I'll go to Dilshan, another opener there who's done rather well opening the innings for his team, that is Sri Lanka. This, of course, is Rohit Sharma's wagon wheel. You expect him to get those runs at mid-wicket. He's very, very good. Then, of course, as Ajit pointed out there, not that the Sri Lankan bowlers made it very tough for him on the day. But Dilshan, just coming back to the point on Rohit Sharma, Virat Kohli has come out and said that he's the best ODI batsman in the world at the moment. But I'd love for you to compare, because you yourself were a great ODI opener. I'd love for you to compare how he stands amongst ODI openers, across generations, Rohit Sharma.
I think he's done really good past and present. I think he after first 10 overs finish, he batted really well. He know how to rotate the strike when he want to go boundaries or sixes. The important is after getting 20s, 30s, convert to the 100. That's the important as especially top order. That's why he's really success. 500s this World Cup. After getting start, he passed that 3 marks. That's the import definitely in first, at least first 3 batsmen to go. I think Rohit doing really well. After getting start, he going for a big one. He know where his boundaries, he know where his sixes. I think he handling really well in especially middle after 10 overs. He want to take a chance. He take a chance with the right way and very less risk. That's why he really success as opener.
All right, just looking at a few positives for India at the end of this game. I'll get one comment each. Ajit, I'll start with you on the century opening partnership. India has now got 4, the only team to have done so. Of course, Shikhar Dhawan contributed earlier, but KL Rahul, I mean, if there was one question mark over India, you'd say the opening. Can KL Rahul really be, batting with that fluency as we see Rohit Sharma? But this 100 would help him now going ahead to the semis-finals.
I think he's had a couple of decent innings before that. He's not quite gone on. I think 70 odd in the previous game.
Yeah.
Didn't quite go on and get that 100. So must help his confidence. We know about his ability. In my opinion, I think that was the best spot for him to bat, not number 4, which they were trying out when Shikhar was around. I think he's a lot more home because he's done this throughout his career, and that 100 will help him a lot going into that semi-final.
Is he a confident sort of player for you, KL Rahul? I mean, when he's in high on confidence, he looks really fluent. When not so much.
I think he always looks fluent. He's one of those aesthetically pleasing batsmen, and you only have to reflect back on the IPL and you see him dominate at the top of the innings, and he can take on anyone, takes on spinners, takes on pace, and I suppose he's probably playing a more sedate role in this one-day team. But on the back of these 2 performances, he's going to have a lot of confidence, and that top 3 heading into a semi-final, as well as India's stroke bowlers, will give them a lot of confidence for that game.
We're taking a look at India's opening partnership, and KL Rahul and Rohit Sharma in particular. This is the highest opening partnership for India across World Cups, and KL Rahul, Rohit Sharma with that 189. It's the best opening partnership for India in this World Cup. And then before that versus Bangladesh, 180. This was the game just before the Sri Lanka game, which happens to be second highest. So they're really turning it on for the Indian team, especially with the knockouts yet to come. But I'm just looking at a few other positives. This one on Hardik Pandya, we kept raising doubts about whether he's India with just 5 bowlers, can he do it? He's now doing it game after game, really pulling his weight as a bowler.
I don't think they have a choice when they play 5 bowlers. They want him to do it, but he's doing it very well, which is a real positive. I think the pitches have helped as well, where he can mix his pace. Where on a flat deck, sometimes he doesn't have enough variations or doesn't do enough with the ball yet. Still learning, still quite young in his international career. But in these conditions at the moment, he's getting the job done and getting wickets, which really helps the other bowlers or the bowler at the other end at that point, or even the strike bowlers to then come and put pressure. His wickets are critical for India if he can keep getting them.
And I think Kohli's using him particularly well. I don't think they're expecting him to be a wicket taker. They're setting defensive fields and then letting him bowl the way that Ajit's saying. And that's allowing him to have some confidence, settle into a spell, not too attacking fields, because he is the 5th bowler. So I think Kohli using him in the right manner and mixing and matching him when he brings him in, and then how late he uses them has really made him more and more effective as the tournament's gone on.
So if India then play with 3 fast bowlers, you'll either have one between Shami and Bhuvaneshwar Kumar. Based on what you saw today, even though Shami sat out, has he now pipped Bhuvi in the pecking order?
Yeah, for me, he always had through this World Cup. I know they started with Bhuvi and then you had to play him. Once you start with someone, you can't just discard him after one game.
Yeah.
But for me, Shami's been in better form over the last year at least, both with the red ball and the white ball, which is how you look at it coming into a tournament. Just bowling more wicket-taking balls at this point. Doesn't make Bhuvi a bad bowler, but if you compare the two at this point, Shami's in better form.
Okay, final word on you. If India were to play 2 spinners, who are those for you? Does Jadeja now come in after the performance today, or you still stick with Chahal and Kuldeep?
I think there's obviously the balance of the team comes into play. I think Chahal and Kuldeep have been so effective for
so they're top 2 for you still?
They're the top 2,
okay.
and I think because they're wicket takers, and you need wicket takers in a semi-final in a big game, and I think they can pull it off for India.
All right, completely out of time. Thanks so much for joining us. Tillkaratne, Dilshan, Ajit, Agarkar and Dan Vettori. Another easy win for India. They've lost just one game in this World Cup. They are on top of the points table at the moment. Whether they stay there or not, that is dependent on Australia versus South Africa. That's all that we have for you on this particular edition of ESPN Cricinfo Match.